Welcome. So again, this is a new experiment for me, and we'll be using this short practice to use a blend of tools that I've been picking up over the years, both from yoga practices, yoga traditions, as well as bodywork practices, and how we can use them to feel good, to feel better in our bodies, to feel it more at ease, and to be able to breathe deeper, more fully. So thank you all so much for joining me today. We're going to begin standing. So when you're ready, come on up to stand. And last night, in like a fit of creativity and inspiration, I did all this camera testing, and then it turns out that when Zoom goes and we're all on, it changes my camera angle, which is weird. So you're gonna lose my head, but it's okay. I'd really like you to just be able to see my feet if you need some visual today. So just coming up to your feet, and we're taking a few moments to body scan from standing. So what I'd love for you to do is just find a comfortable standing position, not Tadasana. Your feet might have a natural turning out at the toes. See if you can allow your feet, your legs, and your hips and the earth to hold you here right now. Is there anything in the upper regions of the body, like particularly I always sort of settle into feeling around the shoulders? Is there anything there in the shoulders that could just get heavier? Can the arms hang a little heavier? Can the hands start to release some tension? Bring your hands to the heart. So this heart area, maybe fingertips near the chest or the collarbones, just so that you have some of the fingertips kind of around the sternum, the collarbones, the rest of the palm settled somewhere on the pec tissue, thumbs maybe somewhere by the shoulders, but letting the shoulders stay pretty heavy. Just diving right into exploring a deeper breath. So really gently meet your breath with curiosity instead of kind of rigid control. And notice, sense, and feel as you take your next breath in, can you bring the air of this breath to meet this place around your heart? And feeling for any sensations that are happening at all. Feeling for, once you perhaps have a sense of the front, the chest, the collarbones, the breastbone moving, can you become more aware of how you're three-dimensional? And so there may be some sensations that also happen right on the other side of things in your upper back. Give yourself 2 more rounds of breath on your own, taking your time, feeling for bringing air into this area of your body. And bringing our attention just a little bit lower, this middle section of our core. So around the solar plexus, you could bring your hands right above the belly button, or even somewhere along these side ribs, these lower side ribs, wherever it feels like you can hold comfortably without any strain in the wrists, the hands, the shoulders, just super, super comfortable. So here, the home of our diaphragm muscle. This is also where The root of our hip flexors, our psoas muscle, dives right into the front of our spine in this area of the body and flows down through the pelvis to the mid-thighs. Just bringing air here for a few breaths. And really don't have to be forceful about this at all. You can be taking like a full expansive breath, or maybe it just feels like you can settle in a little more comfortably, just allowing the breath to move on its own. So taking 2 or 3 more slow, steady breaths, feeling here any sensations that arise when you pay attention to this area around the diaphragm, the low ribs, the back, at the mid-back. And then when you're ready, finishing up with the third section that we're focusing on today, down at the pelvis, at the pelvic bowl, at the low belly. So you bring your hands to the low belly and start to notice and feel for sensation here. The low belly, below the belly button. Maybe you feel some sensation as you let air move and expand. You hear it might feel like it moves out laterally across the front of the hip flexors there. And again, we're 3-dimensional, so feeling and sensing for anything that you notice in the low back side of your body. And continue to pay attention as well to that sense of your legs, your feet, your hips holding you here, ground holding you here, as you expand your body with air. And just making a mental note, just take another moment to scan and feel, and perhaps there was one of those sections up around the heart or around the solar plexus or around the low belly, the low back, the pelvis, that perhaps felt easier to connect to. Breath might have had more sensation there, or it might have felt like there was a lack of sensation, like a numbness, or like that area, it doesn't even feel like it's there. Those are all welcome. Like, those are all very natural, normal things to feel. You're just gathering information. And today we're really focusing on just the raw data of sensation, letting go of any stories that we might have, any analysis that we might have around what we find. So here's doing something totally different than what you would find in like one of my yoga classes. We're going to give the body, the fascia, the connective tissue of our body, like a shake, like the same way that you've ever experienced, like you want to shake out your sheets or shake out a towel. Our fascia sometimes really enjoys that shaking out. So here's how we'll do that. We're going to basically just kind of bounce our bodies. So letting your shoulders, your arms, and your hands stay pretty loose and floppy. And with your feet starting off in that neutral position, right, wherever they started, we're just going to kind of bouncy jog, nothing super crazy in place here. And I'd love for you to just sense and feel, is there any wave pattern that you notice? Like, where are your hips going? Where do you feel your shoulders going? Where do you feel your arms and hands flop around? I'm going to do this for about 10, 15 more seconds. So always, always doing this to your comfort. You can take a break whenever you need to. You can make it a lot slower. Just this little bounce. Make sure we're still breathing. A little warm up. Okay. Now, as you're bouncing, externally rotate your feet out a little bit and keep the jog going. And just really focusing on letting things up above the legs, the pelvis, the feet, just stay real floppy. And notice if the movement of hips, of shoulders, did that pattern change? Okay, just a couple more seconds of this. And then you guessed it, we are going to internally rotate our feet just a little bit. Not just the feet, but all the way up here at the hip joint. We're rolling in and doing this little jog and letting everything up above be as flippy floppy as we can. And notice, sense, and feel. Did the pattern, the shape, the movement of what's happening up at your shoulders, your neck, your arms, did that change at all? And then bring yourself back to that neutral position and just go back to where we started so you can compare again. If you lost that thread, this is what we felt at the very top of that. Whoo! And then when you're ready, slow it down. Let it go. Bring your hand to any of those three places we felt earlier with our breath. It could be the place that felt the easiest to connect to. It could be the place that felt like it was a challenge to breathe into there, to feel into there. Taking 3 deep breaths. Again, focusing on just the raw information of sensation, not diagnosing, just feeling. Let yourself spread your awareness as you take this next breath, maybe feeling more globally through your whole body. Are there any other sensations? Like, I feel a tingling in my calf muscles right now. Do you feel something somewhere else? And just letting that go, and we'll take this piece down to the ground because I'd love for us to just explore one of our core work exercises we can do at the ground and see if waking up, warming up, engaging the transverse abdominis muscle. So this is this muscle of our abdominal core that wraps from the front of the belly back into the low back spine, well, the spine. It's huge, and it's our deepest layer of ab muscle. All the other ab muscles, they weave on top of the transverse abdominis, and it's very integral. It's very involved in breathing, walking. Let's see if anything changes about the flow of our breath or what we can feel when we breathe after we do a little transverse abdominis exploration. So when you're ready, coming all the way down onto your back, however that works for you. I'm going to lay down. Notice what it feels like with knees bent and feet right on the ground. How does your low back feel here? How does your neck feel? If there's discomfort in the neck, for instance, perhaps if you have a towel or a little bit of blanket, putting an inch or two of something underneath the back of your skull, giving your head just a little more support, your neck a little more support. All right, transverse abdominis, feet about hip distance wide. Your hands can be anywhere if you'd like to keep them on your belly or they can rest on the floor. On this next breath, really take your time spreading the bottommost ribs, just imagining your diaphragm widening, flattening. Hold the breath for just a moment. Press your right foot into the floor. Pick your left foot up, knee bent over the hip. Everything stays the same. As you exhale, pull your belly in towards the floor. Little warm up here. Set the foot back down. Slow inhale. Before you do the other side, hold the breath, just noticing those front ribs right above the belly button. See if anything changes for you. What happens if you knit those front ribs in and down just a little bit towards your belly button? You might feel your mid-back press into the floor just a little bit more. See what happens when you do that. Keep that. Press left foot into the floor, pick right foot up, knee bent over the hip. And then just there, exhale all the breath out, pulling the belly in towards your back. That's transverse abdominis contracting. Release, set the right foot down. Slow inhale, spread through the ribs. Hold the breath, press the right foot down, pick the left foot up, knee bent over the hip. Once you're there, just feeling through your body as you exhale out, pull belly in towards your back. Squeeze in gently. Reset the left foot down. Draw air in when you're ready. Inflate with air, especially around those bottom ribs. Pause for a moment. Press left foot down while you pick the right foot up. And then exhale. Pull the belly in towards your back body, towards the floor as you empty out of breath. Just feeling inside. Let's do this one more time each side. Reset, foot to the floor. Deep inhale. Hold the breath. Press the right foot down. Pick the left foot up. And when you're ready, exhale out, pulling the belly in. Last one on the right side, reset the left foot to the floor. Take your time inhaling and expanding your midsection, the upper abdomen, the bottom rib cage, the back of the mid-back. Pause and press the left foot down, pick your right foot up, and as you exhale, pull the belly in. Let that go, set the foot down. If there's any movement, you want to kind of like release that control, maybe flop around on the floor a little bit, wiggle it out. You can do that here. Just some organic movement that would feel good to you. And then we're moving into that, a second version of this with what we call a heel strike. One of the reasons why this is an effective way to integrate your transverse abdominis is there's this little anatomy fact. Every time your heel makes contact with the ground when you're walking, the transverse abdominis, it contracts a little bit. It's involved in that action in your stride. Even when our brain imagines our heel making contact with the ground that way, the transverse abdominis will very subtly make a little bit of action there, like a little bit of contraction. So a heel strike, we're just tapping the foot now to meet the ground. And we're going to do it one side. We'll do like 3 rounds on the right side. We'll take a rest. 3 rounds on the left side, take a rest. Sensing and feeling if there's any difference that we notice, left side compared to right side. Let's start with the left. Same setup, feet flat on the floor, feet about hip distance wide. Take a slow inhale, spread through your ribs. Hold the breath, press the right foot down, pick the left foot up. And this time as you're exhaling out, keep the knee about that same angle so you're not changing how straight or bent it is. Very slowly as you exhale out, lower your left heel to tap the floor, pulling the belly in the whole way down. And then reset the foot back where it started on the floor. Let your body settle back into the earth. Again, inhale, expand through your ribs. Pause, press right foot down, pick left foot up, knee bent over hip. And when you're ready, as you're exhaling out, pull belly in and very slowly as you can, empty of breath while you tap left heel to the floor. Reset the foot back on the ground where it started. Let your body relax tension, relax kind of that readiness of that movement back into the ground. One more slow inhale. Hold the breath, press right foot down, pick left foot up. And as you're exhaling out, pulling belly in, very slowly lower the left heel to tap the floor. Notice, sense, and feel any sensations that are happening. We're going to reset left foot down. Give yourself a full breath in and out. Now as you move on to the right side, allowing yourself to investigate. Does the movement feel harder, easier, smoother, or maybe there's a bit of shakiness to it? What happens on the right side? So 3 rounds on the right. I'll talk us through. Inhale to spread your ribs. Hold the breath, press the left foot down, pick the right foot up, knee bend. And then as you're exhaling, pull your belly in as you slowly lower your right heel to tap the floor. Noticing sensations along the way. Reset the foot down on the ground, relax into the ground with the rest of the body. This time, inhale, expand through the ribs, pause. Again, checking with what happens if you focus on bringing the front ribs down towards the belly button subtly, just this little rib cage adjustment. Press left foot in the floor, pick right foot up, right knee bent. Exhaling out, pulling belly in as you tap, very slow motion, right heel to the floor. Bring it back to the starting position. Slow inhale for the last round, final round. Pause. If it was helpful, if it felt interesting, bring the front ribs, knit them in. Press left foot in the floor, pick right foot up. As you're exhaling, pulling belly in, slow, 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 lower, and tap the right heel to the floor. And reset the foot to the ground. Is there any other tension or contraction that's happening anywhere in the body that can soften here? Take a full round of breath and just noticing, feeling. You got any information there? Right side compared to left side. Jotting it down, making a mental note. All right. So let's take the experiment, this next piece of our experiment, roll over to one side, gently rise up, come back up to standing. All right. So this last piece here, we're going to introduce this concept of the breath wave. Your spine, our spines, make just this most beautiful dance as we breathe. It happens naturally. You don't have to think about it. It just happens. But when we put our attention to noticing and sensing and feeling this movement, it might start to grow. It might start to expand or get more apparent. So feeling into your feet, where the weight of your feet is right now. Bring one hand to your low belly and bring the other hand to your breastbone. On your next breath, as you inhale, bring air into the body. Let it last, that inhalation last a long time. Noticing and feeling perhaps that the hand at the breastbone lifts slightly, subtly away from your pelvis as you inhale. As you're exhaling out slowly, notice, sense, and feel. Is there any movement of the chest settling back down towards your belly button. As we inhale, chest might lift, and it can be subtle. As we exhale, chest settles back towards the pubic bone, back towards the belly button. One more just here. Let there be a little bit of softness in your knees. And if your eyes are closed, it might help to keep your eyes open. The next time you inhale, let yourself lean weight forward into your toes, feeling the chest and the front ribs expand and lift. As you exhale, let weight lean back towards heels, feeling the chest settle towards the belly button. As we inhale, weight leans forward towards toes, chest lifts. As you exhale, letting weight settle back towards heels, you might feel like you can lengthen through the back of the neck a little bit there. Let's go through just a few more breaths on your own. Inhale, leaning forward like you want to look out over the edge. What's over there? What's down the cliffside? Ooh, and then as you're exhaling out, oh, I'm just going to lean back a little bit, back into the heels, the back of the body. Feeling that transference of weight through the feet. You really have a sense of that. Maybe you'd like to let the arms relax for these final couple rounds. It doesn't have to be like I'm exaggerating a little bit for the camera. You can be doing this way smaller than I am. The goal isn't to go to your end range like you'd feel like you'd fall over. Just playing right at the edge of comfort. So this breath wave is something that I practice feeling for when I'm working with my hands on someone in a bodywork session. Wherever it feels like the spine is encumbered, it can't quite move fluidly, that might be a place to investigate. What's the tissue doing there? How can create a little bit more freedom, more mobility, so that the spine can undulate as we breathe on its own, unencumbered. So finishing here, you're welcome to stay standing. You could also come to sitting, and we're just taking about 2 minutes to just settle. So it's not quite a full Shavasana. It's more like a seated or standing meditation. Standing might be interesting if you'd like to just check back in and have it be the same position as when we began feeling into belly, solar plexus, chest. You could also do that sitting. So just making a choice now, standing or sitting. Letting all of that information that we gathered while we played today, letting it settle in. Explore what it feels like to breathe deeper now. Maybe bringing your focus to one of those segments around the heart, the solar plexus, the low belly, wherever it feels the most interesting to you, wherever it feels like you maybe need the most tender care right now. And let's take 3 final breaths here to close our practice, just focusing on bathing that area with our attention and our deep breath. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I hope this short practice helped this first thing in the morning for you like it was for me, wake you up, maybe get you going sometime whenever you might watch this recording. And if you have any questions, everyone, you're welcome to email me. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Mwah.